I believe the study of ancient texts might be very important to understand what could be happened in humankind's past. An in-depth analysis of papyruses discovered in Egypt, but also of inscriptions found in the tombs, could help us to figure out one of the God's Age mysteries. In my opinion, the Egyptian Book of Death is one of the most important documents ever found. Egyptologists discovered religious traditions of ancient Egypt by translating the hieroglyphics inscribed on Una's pyramid wall, well-known pharaoh of the 5th dynasty, in some pyramids funerary chambers of the 6th dynasty unearthed in Saqqara. In my opinion, the texts are priceless artifacts to understand the ancient Egyptian funerary rules, but also to find out the events characterized the Tepi. The Tepi symbolized the beginning of a new time that the Egyptians connected to the creation myth. And it is interesting to highlight that the Egyptians considered the creation as a God's gift, through which they established a connection between the world of matter and cosmic energies. But what information do we have from the narration? The myth tells that in the beginning was the water, the Egyptians called Nun, from which the god Atum arose. We know that Atum generated Shu, a personification of air, and Tefnut, goddess of the moist air and the rain. The couple generated Nut, goddess of the sky, and Geb, god of the earth. Shu, Tefnut, Nut, and Geb are gods representing the 4 basic natural elements for ancient Egyptians. In this case, I would like to highlight that Egyptians already conceived the basic nature 4 elements, despite scholars ascribe the discovery to the ancient Greeks. In reality, the ancient Greek philosopher acquired the base of their thought from the Egyptians. They invented nothing. So, coming back to the facts, Nut and Geb generated 4 gods, who ancient Egyptians believed to be the first divinities living on earth, i.e. Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys. Those 9 gods are the great Ennead of Heliopolis, worshipped in Egypt, and they are the base of cosmological religion during the dynastic age. They are the characters influencing the story of the Golden Age. They are the gods who ruled during the Tepi, the mysterious age that still fascinates our researchers focusing the mysteries of the past. But what is the Tepi? Might it be considered a part of humankind's history and heritage? Or is it just a mythological time? Many experts agree to confine that period to the God's Age, when they likely ruled in Egypt and lived among humans. It was a time characterized by a progressive knowledge, both artistic and technological. Of course, when I refer to technologies, I want to underline that the civilization abilities in the nature use for their aims and not to exploit it, as actually happens, for example. I believe it is important to underline the cultural differences between their society and that of the modern time. That's why I believe this is one of the reasons for which we are not able to understand their messages. Egyptologists have a number of ancient texts, for example, those written by some classic writers, such as Manetho and Herodotus, for example. They tell about the Golden Age when that period began and circumstances and events that took place during the God's Age. Throughout their masterpiece, they reveal lots of events characterizing the ancient times, establishing also a timeline that brings us to the Tepi origins. The timeline idea from which the Tepi originated is very intriguing because it could confirm that it refers to an historical time and not to a myth, as scholars claim. The question about the Tepi blew up when Robert Bauval published his Orion correlation theory in the middle of the 90s. His assumptions opened a window at an unclear time that took place according to the history, to his theory, during 10,500 before Christ. His theory caused a huge debate among researchers, producing just only confusion due to the lack of Egyptology's scientific evidences. Strike the most is the scholars' silence on the matter, despite they have many documents to investigate. In my opinion, just only an in-depth early text investigation can shed light on the Egypt origins mysteries. But unfortunately, scholars have not this attitude. That is why one of the most hermetic documents ever found in Egypt, the so-called Royal Canon or King's List or Turin papyrus, is considered without value by academics. It is an interesting document and unique document from which could emerge interesting information on the Tepi mysteries and therefore about the humankind's past mystery. But unfortunately, it is still unexplored by Egyptologists. We know that Italian Egyptologist Bernardino Drovetti discovered the document in 1822, and it dates back to the 19th dynasty during Ramses II kingdom. One of the most interesting document characteristics are the tales the scribe used to write the sequence of kings' names. Reading the document, we can observe that the author made a great effort in grouping succession lines. He also followed very strict rules in recording the king's reigns, establishing for each of them the years, the month, and even the days of the reign. According to me, that very unusual accuracy would close all discussion on the historical consistence of the artifacts. Anyway, it may sound strange, but the document has led to a controversy between scholars and alternative researchers, and led also to the end of all possibility to analyze the papyrus objectively. One of the reasons for conflict among researchers refers to doubts about the reign times inscribed in the king's list. The length of reigns is not always consistent with the official thesis proposed by the archaeologists, and it does not match with all discovered occurred over the last few centuries. I think in this case, Egyptologists are right. Nevertheless, I believe differences could be due to the lack of artifacts still to be discovered that can help us for a correct interpretation of the papyrus contents. Everybody knows, for example, that almost the 18% of Egyptian civilization findings are still under the desert sands, waiting to be discovered. But any researchers has considered the possibility that pre-dynastic dynasties may have really had the duration as explained in the ancient manuscript, but scribes could have forgotten the pharaoh's name or deleted their names from Egyptian history. Anyway, Egyptologists prefer to close the debate, declaring the papyrus is doubtful, rather than organize investigation to discover the mysteries of Pharaoh's chronologies. What information can we learn about the Tepi analyzing the papyrus? According to the enigmatic test, the king's sequel originated 33,000 years before the dynastic age. It would confirm the existence of an unknown civilization influencing the memories of ancient Egyptians. Therefore, we could also understand why the document was compiled, very likely to preserve the oral tradition and to save the Egyptians' primordial origins. Moreover, from the King's List fragments, we can decode the existence of 9 pre-dynastic dynasties, such as the Venerables of Memphis, the Venerables of the North, and the Shemswar, the Horus followers, which reigned until Menes dynasty. So we have a confirmation of the existence of a lost civilization lived on Earth in the distant past. And we can also argue that civilization had a perfect organization of administration and knowledges. It doesn't match with what scientists refer to. For example, considering Darwin's evolution theory, it would appear unreasonable that the existence of the developed human society in a very distant past. That's why Egyptologists claim that Tepi is not an historical time but mythology. During my research on the mysteries of Giza, in order to propose my historical time of the Tepi theory, I focused my attention on in-depth analysis of classic writers' records, which I found very prolific. I believe the investigation concerning the pre-dynastic period is a duty if we have the aim to discover the truth of humankind origins. And I refer to a huge analysis of events without stereotypes. The aim to discover the mystery of the Tepi pushed me back in the time until the God's Age, in the effort to confirm the existence of a lost civilization which lived on the planet in the distant past. The same civilization that built pyramids all around the world. Manetho proposed a cycle of 38,000 years before to join the pre-dynastic period to dynastic age. His proposal is very important for me because it is fully in line with my theory. Exactly when the monuments of Giza and the sky were perfectly aligned in 36,400 before Christ. But to better appreciate the theory, it is important to start from Robert Bauval's theory. It is the basic key before the great jump in the distant past.